Hey everybody, we have to do something a little bit different today. Today we're going to do a shot-for-shot commentary and a little bit of amateur swing analysis on our latest round at the Prince William Golf Club earlier this month. This is Degenerate Golf Club. Let's get out of bounds. So it's a cold weekend here in Virginia. We got out a couple of weeks ago. We're number two, starting off on number two here at the Prince William Golf Course. Is a 435-yard par 4. It was cold outside, and we didn't check our batteries in the mic, so we didn't have any sound for the first few holes here. So we're going to do a shot for shot and maybe throw in some swing analysis. Burns is up first. Pretty open fairways here at Prince William Golf Club. He lays one out to the left there. He's got a big cut. Him and I have the same flaws. We come over the top of the ball, and we're working on it. But he laid one out there beyond those pine trees there. Sorry, I'm playing with a different ball today, a real line. They sent me. I might do a review on it later. I'm not sure about it yet. I'm not sure about the balls. But I should be aligned here for center of the fairway because of my little cut. And this is a blind blind tee shot, but it runs off downhill after that hill. And I've come over the top, and I've got a major sort of power fade is what we call it. I end up hitting the fairway here, but it did roll off to the right. So let's take a look at what I think are problems in my swing here. First of all, if you don't film your swing, you know it's a real benefit to you. As you can see here, I didn't understand how far forward I'm placing the ball, and if you notice here, you know, in the middle of my takeaway, I again, here's the over the top move. My head starts moving outside of that circle, and I start getting very upright and standing up. Whereas Burns ends up left and right and swaying, I stand up on the ball, and that does not help me come through and deliver it, you know, sort of with face to path. So I end up outside or over the top of the ball. It starts out left, and it ends up finishing way over there on the right. Ended up hitting the fairway, but it did cut and continue with that cut roll, so it rolled off to the right. Burns' second shot here. Again, talk about swinging. He was over the top a little bit and really needed to get a better face on the ball here, better strike on the ball. He wasn't happy with that. So I got 181 to the front, 194 to the middle. It's a long shot. This is an interesting green because it runs off left dramatically with a defense bunker there on the left and then behind. So really the bailout is like 5 yards to the right. So it's a really tough green sometimes to hit. I'm pulling out, I think it looks like my 20-degree hybrid. I think I'm aligned a little bit too far left, but I did put a good strike on the ball, got it where I wanted, got a good kick, bailed out a little bit to the right of the green. If that was, you know, 5 yards to the left, that would have been a great shot, but it rolled over the back of the green, which, you know, from 191, I think I'll take that most days of the week. Here's Burns' third. I think he's got an 8-iron in hand, and he puts a good swing on the ball. Ends up just, I think, 10, 15 feet short of the pin. So I'm going to chip up now. And I wasn't too upset with this chip. I put it where I wanted it, and I got an unlucky bounce. I think the fringe, just 2 inches to the right, I think the fringe grabbed it and threw it off to the right. Whereas if I would have hit it right on the green, then it probably would have ended up below the hole about 3 or 4 feet. See, I see, just grabbed it and took it to the right. Our left as we're looking at it, but essentially pin high, so I would have ended up downhill, you know, putting uphill for par there with 3 feet. Burns has got about 20 feet here. He's pretty good lag putting, much better lag putter than I am. Leaves himself kind of a slippery one, about 2-3 feet below the hole, but moving right to left. I'm just off the fringe again, pin high from where I started, but. You know, this is a very, very fast putt. Everything rolls. You know, the green is going downhill for me here. So you can notice I barely put a move on this ball. Trickles down there. Pretty good par for me. I will take that any day of the week. You know, if I can hit it from 6 to 8 feet. This is a really good hole. This is number 3. 372 yard par 4, but this is all moving sort of the camber of the green, of the fairway is dramatically right to left. I put a 3-wood out there, about 240, gets you to a creek and some woods, so you can't use a driver. This is definitely not a driver hole. This is Burns again, and lays one out again to the left into those trees. So let's take a look at his swing here. If you see Burns, he's got a pretty good setup, I think. You know, again, I'm not a pro, but when he takes it back, he's got the same over the top move that I do. Not as dramatic on this swing, but you notice his wrist is also very, very cupped here, and that's just gonna leave that face open. And when he gets to it, you can even see right before impact how open that club face is, because he's not manipulating the club with his hand. So him and I do the same thing. We don't release properly, and look how open that is right before impact, and then at impact you can still see how dramatically open it is. And because he didn't make as sort of dramatic and over the top move as I did, he was able to start it more straight, but then it peeled off crazy to the left. So he ended up way short and way to the left. You're gonna have a downhill, and he's got probably still 210 in. Yeah, that was maybe 200 in. That wasn't a very good 3-wood there. So he's gonna have to lay up here. He's looking for a pitching wedge, so he's looking for maybe 120 in. I think he put an 8-iron in his hand there, or he put a 50 in his hand there. I think 52. So he's got 120 in, which was a good distance for him. And his pitching wedge, I think he's taking the pitching wedge here. But again, you can see Burns, he moves left to right. He does a lot of swaying, and that was a fault early in my golf that I got rid of, and now I just stand up too upright. But he hit it off the left side there. You can't miss it left because you're going to be in the junk, and you can't miss it long, you're going to be in the junk. So bailout is to the right. I've got about 100 yards, so I've got a 50 degree. I'm never comfortable with my 50 degree. I just can't get it to move to go the distance I need it to go. But about 45 feet, 35 feet to the right, it was the bailout, but it was pin high. It's a green and reg, so I'm happy with that. This does not make Burns happy here. He is generally, and I will say, he's generally a good chipper, but when he does get sort of out of whack, out of sync, then you will find that every once in a while. So three chips up to the green there, and then he puts that out. So I've got a long one. See, I think I put a pretty good move on this ball. I had a good putt. It was online. I thought I had a good distance. And you can even tell in this video how much speed it picks up in the last 2 feet, sort of to move beyond the hole. But look, I barely touched that. It's coming at a good pace. And then, wow, it just starts moving. And it gives me, 10 feet coming back, which is ridiculous. So this is my problem. This is what I got to clean up of these 3 putts. Once I get these 3 putts in hand, I should be a pretty good golfer. But this one leaves me, short. Never had a chance, and I'm able to just clean it up for a bogey. But putting for birdie from long distance, 3 putt for a bogey isn't fun. So here's a par 3. This is a longer par 3. Number 4 is 185. Is playing 195 that day. Burns gets a little bit behind it, chunks it with a hybrid. But he still ends up about 15 yards short, chipping a putt, and he should be out of there for par. 195 is my 20 degree hybrid, so I put that in hand. I don't know why I'm sort of aiming off to the left here. I'm shooting for the center of the green, I think. But again, I stand right up on this and get way behind the ball. Look at all of that with a hybrid, all that puff of smoke, and I'm in line with the pin, 15 yards short. Burns and I have the same thing. So it's a pitch in putt competition, and Burns generally does pretty well with those. Leaves himself about 20 feet to the left. But here's my problem is I am on an uphill slant, and I'm working so much on getting into my lead foot on my chips that I failed to adjust here, and I put this right into the side of the hill. Couldn't get anything out of it. That's just bad setup, and I've got to work on that. And now I'm a little pissed off, so I walk up and, same thing, didn't set up, should have evened out the weight a little bit, and I tried to get under the ball a little bit more. And this runs off the back, So this is all downhill and away from me now. There's nothing I can do with this. I put it about a foot onto the green and it rolled right off the green. You know. So that was part 1 of Prince William Golf Club. Part 2 is coming up here. We'll have some audio for you. This is Degenerate Golf. Let's get out of bounds.